Hey everyone, welcome to my new Banter Builds YouTube video. Today I'm here bringing you a review and how-to of changing the blade and resetting it to cut accurately to the gauge and also square so you don't get angled rippings and things off the planer. So today I was at work and my planer was run through some pins by another worker, and nothing worse than trying to run through finished product and having to sand down and get off any extra grooves. So I had extra blades in my van, so I thought, bugger it, I'll change it over, get them nice again, and then you got a nice finished product, and that's it finished. So I'm going to run you through what I use to change the blade. You've got the in-house tool set on the Makita 18 volt planer. Most of the battery platform tools that I've seen have them, but if not, you can use a standard crescent or socket set piece to go with. That's on the side there located, and then looking from above, I'll bring the planer closer. On the underside, you've got a wheel here that you can rotate manually, that shaft, I suppose you'll call it. And then what you can see, you've got 3 bolts. That's one of the blades. If I rotate it the other way, that's the second lot. So you've got 2 blades per planer. I'm just going to take off one today and then put it back together as well. There's no point in me showing you both. It's just the same thing repeated twice. So what I like to use is a metal ruler or just any flat surface. You use a bit of timber across just to set the gauge, as well as the Makita block that comes with the planer, which you can also make out of a piece of timber as well if this has happened to be lost. But I will put this in the link below so you can find exactly what it is in case you want to order one, because they are handy to have. Keep in mind there are different ways these planers can be set up. Today I'm just going to show you the way I've got it. This is a different type of blade you can have. It's a lot fatter and it's a solid size. These are good if you're ripping lots of solid timber, or you know you're going through nails and things, or pins or whatever. They don't shatter. They just kind of create divots, and they do break, but they don't shatter and go everywhere. Whereas these smaller ones I'm about to bring out can be a lot more fragile and kind of better for finishing or a lot of clean timber and things like that. So anyway, first things first, I'll pull this tool out. Before I do anything, power source, let's get rid of the battery or unplug your lead if you've got a leaded tool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have this set on 0mm. So when I put the ruler across both of the plates, it should be perfectly flush either side. And then I come along, I can use this wheel, just take out all of these bolts, sort of thread them. Here I'll just fast forward through. And there we go, so that's all 3 bolts out. Now what you can see is on the side there, you pull this tab down, all 3 pieces should just slide out the side. So what I'm left with, basically, I'll explain to you guys. I've got the tungsten blade, I've got the packer, which I call it, and also the topping, the cap, like we would say. So the tricky thing with this is setting this exactly right so that once it's all back together, it cuts on 0. Like if you have it set on 0mm, it cuts 0mm. It's set on 2, cuts 2, etc. So that's why we have this block. So I'll show you that in a second. Put this to the side. I always like to take a moment while it's all open, nothing's in there, and clean out this plate in here. Maybe spray some CRC or some lubricant into those threaded holes. Clean out any gunk that's sitting on top or around the central shaft. So that's what I'm going to do there. Next thing, bring my block over, and the blade, which is hiding under here. So basically the blade is going to sit flat side down and hard into the side there. So in the light I try to reflect it like that across the side. Then the next thing, I'm going to loosen off with a Phillips impact. Can use a handheld screwdriver obviously, but this is what I've got out. Loosen those off to allow the movement in the packer, which now gives me my adjustment to set the position where I want it. So it goes like this. I've now clicked the packer over the top of that blade in the corner, and now I slide that right out the back and then just slowly push it in until it touches the plastic. Once it touches, I try to use my left hand. I'm right-handed, so I like to use the impact to my right. So I use my left hand with my thumb in between, and that's where I go through and just give them a little tight in there until it just grabs. And now I can check, I'm happy that the blade's locked in those grooves. The back of the return is on the back of the block. Now I'm done with that. That's been set, so I'm happy to put it back into the grinder, into the planer. So coming in here, I'll bring it up close. There's your line that the plate runs into. So that slides in from the side, nice and easy. And another thing to check now is the last final check. Those holes should all line up really well. And make sure your bolts can go through. If they're not lining up, something's happened and you've got to redo it back on the block and figure out what went wrong. Sometimes it just slipped. It might have just moved while you were trying to tighten those screws off. It happens to me as well, but it's pretty easy to fix. So now that's in there, I'm just going to slide this blade under that front leading edge and into those grooves, and making sure that I center that as well, so that it's cutting just either side of that plate that we run our planer over timber with. So that's perfect. So I've now got that sitting in place. This capping piece now goes curved side first, and that hides over. It's pretty obvious. It can only go one way, so you might put it in wrong, but it won't work, so you'll figure it out pretty quick. And then that lines up perfectly with the holes as well. And I'm just going to screw those bolts in finger tight and show you guys how I check whether it's been set correctly. Okay, so there we go. All three of those are done up by hand. I like to just give it a little crank up. We'll tighten up with this. Not all the way yet, but just a little bit. Just so when I turn the blade over to test out the gauging, it's not going to move and ruin the measurement. So now that's in there, looking pretty good. I'm going to roll the wheel so that the blade's sticking up vertically. I've got the gauge on 0. So now when I put my metal ruler over the two plates, my blade's sitting perfect. Touching either side is touching the ruler, so I'm happy it's set to 0. Now I can happily go and cut or plane off 2mm off a piece of timber, and I know it's doing 2mm, and so on. So hope you guys like the video. Hope it helps you guys. Let me know in the comments if you have an easier way, or if you've made up your own way. But yeah, look forward to the next few. Please subscribe if you liked what you see. Got heaps of 40-volt tools are coming out with reviews soon. I've got all the gear I've used for months, so it's more of a real life, what I really think, would I buy it again, and so on. And also new tools coming out soon that have been ordered. So a bit of a mix up, getting back into it fully now. Proper kind of microphone and lighting to try and make the videos a bit better for you guys. So I hope you notice the difference. But yeah, thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one. So cheers, subscribe.